Hello bankers, a very good evening to all of you. Welcome back. So welcome to JIB CIB Prep. So guys, in this particular session, we are going to discuss our unit number 15, which is all about theories of interest. Okay, so theories of interest, again, very important unit from your module B itself. Okay? And it is something which is linked with your unit number 14, right? So first do was unit number 14. So जब आपको 14 आपका demand and supply, if you'll make those particular thing, like if you'll have clarity about the law of demand, law of supply and equilibrium, then only you will be able to understand theories of interest. ठीक है, तो उससे complete आपका link topic है, because the theories of interest, that base is generally driven from the law of demand and supply itself, right? So in this particular session, we are going to discuss these many subtopics. So the basic introduction, classical theory of rate of interest, Keynes liquidity preference theory. Then we have money demand curve. Then we have determination of rate of interest and equilibrium in money market. Effect of interest, effect of an increase in money supply, a shift in money demands or liquidity preference curve, Hicks and Haysen's synthesis, which is generally known as IS and LM curve, right? And then final one, IS LM curve and fiscal and monetary policy. So these are the subtopics which are generally part of this particular unit. And with the help of multiple MCQs, application based question and application based questions, we are going to build our understanding toward these particular subtopics. One by one, we are going to cover each and everything. But before starting this particular one, I want to discuss few things about the interest, classical theory of rate of interest. Okay. So how it is linked with your demand and supply topic. So with this particular one only, you will be able to build your concept. Okay. So the classical theory rate of interest, or it is also known as loanable funds. Okay. So loanable funds theory. So basically, like how we generally decide interest rate in the market. Okay? So to decide interest rate, we have two major aspects. One is savings, and another one is your investments, right? So saving, let's say as an individual, if I want to save more at a higher rate of interest, okay, so people they want to basically save their money at a higher rate of interest. And if you talk about the borrowers, those who are making some sort of investment in all, okay, so they want to borrow at a lower rate of interest. Okay. So this theories evolve around this particular one, similar to your demand and supply theory. Okay. So where this like interest rate, like as you can see in this particular one, this is the equilibrium points aapka, okay. So borrowers, they want to borrow at lower price, and those who basically are depositing money, okay, basically savers, saving accounts and all, okay, we want to save that money at higher rate of interest. So a point where these two intersect, that is generally known as आपका equilibrium. So this is all, this theory evolve around these particular one. Okay. So these are some major theorists who generally come up with this particular idea. Adam Smith, Alfred Marshall, AC Pigou, and आपका Nut Wixell. So these are some major theorists, those who work toward this interest rate theory. ठीक है? So it explains how the interest rate determined by the forces of demand and supply in the capital market itself. ठीक है? So the basic, if you talk about the main content of this particular theory, ठीक है? Components of this theory, ठीक है? Supply side, which is generally built by the savings, ठीक है? So basically with the deposit itself, ठीक है? So supply of loanable funds means savings. ठीक है? Household have a portion of their income which become available for lending. ठीक है? So higher interest rate encourage more saving. ठीक है? So people will get higher interest on FDs or saving accounts or other investment opportunities. They'll save more money, right? So that is the one. Like as we can have a live example of SIPs. Take a last 2-3 years or previous 5 years. So that is a kind of golden period for mutual fund investment. So people, they build a investing habit in SIPs because that attract a higher return compared to the ट्रेडिशनल प्रोडक्ट्स ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट, ठीक है. सो दिस इज अ वेरी जनरल टेंडेंसी कि जहां पे हमें ज्यादा रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट मिलेगा, सो विल try to save more. So that is the one thing. And the demand side is basically that is investment, or basically these are the borrowers who borrowing money from the these savers. So they want to borrow at a lower side. जितना कम interest पे borrowing होगा, like if there will be low rate of interest, let's say the current rate is 10%, if it will come down to 8% for car loans from 10 to 8%. So people will borrow money from banks and they'll purchase or they'll increase their consumption. So there will be more money supply in the market itself. Okay? So business and individual borrow money for investment purpose. Okay? Lower interest rate encourage more borrowings and investment. Okay? So now we form the equilibrium. Okay? So this is the equilibrium points aapka where we are following. This is the supply one and this is a borrowing one. Okay? So if it is overvalued, undervalued, this market will adjust that particular one. Okay? This thing we have already understood with our demand and supply. Okay? So अगर ये equilibrium से ज़्यादा है या इससे आपका कम है, ठीक है, so that demand and supply factors or market factors which will adjust that particular one and we'll find a equilibrium. Okay? So the market interest rate is determined at the point where savings means supply of funds equal to investments which is डिमांड फॉर द फंड्स. ठीक है, तो ऐसा पॉइंट आपका जहां पे ये एक दूसरे को आपका क्या कर रहे हैं, क्रॉस कर रहे हैं. सो दिस इज आवर इक्विलिब्रियम पॉइंट्स एंड this is the point where like borrowers is ready to borrow at that particular interest rate, and that savers they are that is generally known as loanable funds. आपका supply loanable funds, they are ready to save their money or invest their money in the market itself. So that is the kind of things which generally comes under this particular one. Okay? So supply curve means saving slope upwards. So if you talk about this, so this is the supply curve your team. So it slope upwards, and your investment curve आपका demand curve. So the basic draft is something like this. So this is your supply curve, and this is your आपका डिमांड कर्व. ठीक है, सो सप्लाई कर्व स्लोप अपवर्ड्स, supply curve slope upwards showing that people save more at higher interest rate, and demand curve slope downwards indicating businesses borrow more when interest rate are lower side. Okay? So let's say if this is interest rate, this is your interest rate. So if interest will be here, so this people will invest. If interest is here, so this is the difference आपका. So if interest at kind of a different points, so if interest at higher side, so people will like the supply curve will go up, and it will move toward the upwards, and if interest at lower side, so people will have like they'll borrow more money from the market for the investment purpose. The intersection of these curve is determined equilibrium of the interest rate. So this is the interest rate theory which is linked with your which is generally linked with your law of demand and supply. But here we are talking about how interest rate get decided in the market itself. I hope you guys get a fair idea about this particular thing. Okay. See what challenge I see with this particular one, especially those who all are from non-commerce and non-economics backgrounds. Okay. So if I directly come to the question, you will get confused. That's why I provided this basic summary. Okay. So there are some key assumptions for this particular one also, which is given by different economists. Okay. So आपका perfect competition. Okay. Market operate without external interventions or on perfect competitions. Okay. We have number of buyers or number of sellers. That means we have number of savers or those who generally saving money, and we have number of borrowers in the market. Okay. The another one is full employment. So economy always utilize all resources. Saving investment equality, interest rate adjusts to maintain equilibrium between saving and investment, and money neutrality. Money only affect prices, not the real economic variables. Okay. So this is the one, a basic summary. Now with the help of questions, we will try to enhance our learnings or the type of questions you may face from this particular one. You will definitely see one question, and that question will be much easier than your law of demand and supply. Believe me guys, and if you go through these particular one, there is a लाइक मतलब लाइक अगर आप सारे क्वेश्चन को बहुत अच्छे से समझते हैं, इफ यू गो थ्रू दैट एक्सप्लेनेशन पार्ट एंड ऑल, यू विल बी एबल टू सॉल्व दैट एग्जाम क्वेश्चन फॉर श्योर, ठीक है। तो बिल्कुल ध्यान से आपका विद फुल कंसंट्रेशन ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड दीज वन, ठीक है। Which of the following statement about interest is correct? So the question is about the interest. This is a very subtopic which is defined in your book itself. ठीक है? So pure interest is only a factor influencing that difference in interest rate on loans. ठीक है? No, we do not have only factor that is pure interest. There are so many factors who generally get affect. ठीक है? So there are multiple factors which generally affect the interest rate in the market itself, like the risk involved in the investments, and all these are the factors. Take time value of money also, right? For how long we are depositing that particular money. So statement one is incorrect. Okay. The rate of interest influenced by demand for borrowings and the supply for loanable funds, 100% true. Okay. So the things or the interest will be decided at the point where these demand and supply, they intersect each others. That is our equilibrium point. So it is totally, if there is a high demand, high supply, that the interest rate will be at high, if any one variables at higher side or lower side, that is definitely going to impact the equilibrium points. So this is 100% true. A long-term government loan generally offer a higher interest rate than a short-term loans. This is again 100% because the time value of money or opportunity cost, inflation, there are so many factors which are generally part of this. Okay? So what we have to find out, correct statement 2 and 3. So option B will be right answer for this particular one. So only statement incorrect was statement 1. Interest rate vary due to multiple factors including risk and trouble involved, not just the pure interest. The remaining two statements are correct. Okay? Next question, guys. Which of the following is correct regarding classical theory of interest? Okay? So now we have discussed this particular one. I hope you will be able to solve this one. And in these kind of questions, do apply that elimination techniques. Okay? Let's say out of 5 statements, you know any 3 statement very well. Okay? So try कि उन 3 ऑप्शन से आप अपने आंसर को फाइंड आउट करने की कोशिश करेंगे, ठीक है। तो स्टेटमेंट 1 आपका फर्स्ट स्टेटमेंट, the rate of what we have to find out, correct statement. So the rate of interest is determined by equilibrium of demand and supply. This is 100% true. We like this is your let's say this is your supply, and this is your, sorry, this is your savings and this is your investment. Okay? So the equilibrium will decide the basically your interest rate for that particular security. The demand for capital is directly related to interest rate. Okay? So the demand for capital, the demand for capital is directly related to interest rate. Okay? The demand for capital is directly related to interest rate. Okay, I'm a little bit doubtful about this one. Okay, so I'll hold this particular statement. Okay. The supply of capital is influenced by saving, 100% true. Okay. Supply of capital is influenced by savings, which demand on factors like income and willingness to save, true, 100% true. Okay. So statement second is correct. Okay. Means first one is correct, third one is correct. Okay. The demand for capital is directly related to the interest rate. I'm doubtful about this. I'll not go for this statement again. So the classical theory consider interest as a real phenomena determined by the real factors like saving and investments, 100% true. Then the next statement is Keynes criticized the classical theory by stating that interest is a reward for parting with the liquidity, not with the saving. This is also correct. We'll come to this particular theory. Team. So 1, 3, 4, 5. Team. 1, 3, 4, 5. Yes. So that means this statement is wrong. Team. So statement आपका D, option D should be right answer for this particular one. Yes. So why statement 2 was incorrect? Because the demand for capital is inversely related. Yes, this is the bond. I hope you remember the theorem of bonds. ठीक है, तो कहीं ना कहीं जो बॉन्ड थ्योरम्स आपके होते हैं ना, उसी से लिंक है आपका डायरेक्ट, अगर आप उस कॉन्सेप्ट को भी अप्लाई करेंगे, ठीक है। सो डिमांड फॉर कैपिटल इज इनवर्सली रिलेटेड टू द इंटरेस्ट रेट, ठीक है। सो हायर इंटरेस्ट हायर इंटरेस्ट लीड टू लोअर डिमांड, ठीक है। सो अगर आपका इंटरेस्ट ज्यादा होगा तो आपका लो डिमांड्स होंगी, अगर इंटरेस्ट कम होगा तो देयर विल बी अ हाई डिमांड। सो दैट इज द ओनली फैक्टर्स और द स्टेटमेंट विच वाज इनकरेक्ट अराउंड दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग, ठीक है। सो थोड़ा सा यहाँ पे एक बार इसका एक्सप्लेनेशन देख लेते हैं, ठीक है। सो इट इज ऑल्सो नोन एज डिमांड एंड सप्लाई थ्योरी। जस्ट अ मिनट, हाँ। Okay. So it is also known as demand and supply theory, ठीक है। So demand and supply theory, it was developed and modified by the various renowned economists like Marshall हैं, ठीक है, फिशर हैं और पिगू, जो हमने स्टार्टिंग में बात किया था। According to the theory, the rate of interest is determined by the equilibrium of demand and supply of savings. The classical economists mentioned that interest is the price paid for supply of savings to meet the demand for investment. The theory explains the determination of interest rate by analyzing the real factor like saving and investment. This is also known as the capital theory of interest. It is also called capital theory of interest, or the saving investment theory of interest, or the real theory of interest. As per this theory, interest is real phenomena that is solely determined by the real factors which are आपका demand and supply, sorry, आपका supply and demand for capital under the perfect competitions, ठीक है। So capital supply is regulated by thrift like savings or time preferences. Capital demand is determined by the productivity of the capital itself, ठीक है। So this is the kind of brief which we discuss with the our initial डिस्कशन, ठीक है। तो जहां पे हमने एक समरी काइंड ऑफ आपका फर्स्ट में डिस्कस किया था, दीज ऑल थिंग्स वर पार्ट ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर समरी इटसेल्फ, राइट। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन गाइस। Okay. Which of the following economists contribute the development and modification of classical theory? ठीक है। So Marshall, Fisher, हाँ. So Marshall, Fisher, हाँ. So what will be your correct answer? Because all the three which we have discussed here also, ठीक है। So the name was clearly mentioned here, ठीक है, जो आपके बुक के अंदर भी थे, ठीक है। इसके अलावा भी कुछ और थ्योरीज जिनको हमने आपका स्टार्टिंग में डिस्कस किया था, ठीक है। तो C will be right answer for this particular one. Now the next question, guys. Consider the following statement of Keynes liquidity preference. So Keynes liquidity preference के consider the following statements around the Keynes liquidity preference theory, ठीक है। So the demand for money is influenced by income level and interest rate. True. First statement is correct. Yeah. The speculative motive for holding money increase when bond prices are low. ठीक है। So देखो क्या होगा, when bond prices at least there will be a highest speculative. ठीक है। So because every investor they have a mindset कि now this is the least one, so prices will go up in the near time duration. So they'll make that kind of speculations. ठीक है। We have like some base and resistance ना, basically the price movement happens something like this, ठीक है। तो if it is at least आपका lower side पे है, so this will be the आपका जहां पे सबसे ज्यादा स्पेकुलेशन एक्टिविटीज होंगे, so this make this statement correct. The transaction motive is purely, so if you talk about the Keynes theory, it is based on three major areas. One is transaction motive, another one is your precautionary motive, and the third one is speculative motive, ठीक है। So the transaction motive is purely applicable to individuals, not businesses. This make this statement wrong, ठीक है। So the transaction motive is applicable to both individual as well as businesses, okay। So the statement is wrong, ठीक है। A higher nominal interest rate lead to a higher opportunity cost of holding money. Yes, बिल्कुल सही है आपका, ठीक है। So nominal versus real, आपका nominal is without inflation adjusted which is based on the current prices, right? तो आपका जितना ज्यादा होगा उतना ज्यादा आपकी opportunity cost will be involved in this one, because that inflation will get keep changing, ठीक है। तो this is also correct here. Statement 4 is right. If interest rate are expected to rise in future, people prefer to hold more bonds, ठीक है। So if interest rate are rise in the future, people will hold more bonds आपका, ठीक है। If interest rate rise in the future, so people will hold, no, this is doubtful, ठीक है। This should be आपका like अगर interest rate बढ़ेंगे तो people will hold more. if interest rate, okay, I'll just cross check this particular one. Okay. The precautionary motive arises due to uncertain future expenses. This is 100% true. Okay. Precautionary motive arises due to uncertain future expenses. When interest rates are at lowest, speculative demand for money is highest. No, it is highest, not minimal. Okay? So this make this particular statement wrong. So what will be your right answer? Okay, I just want to cross check this. If the interest rate at expected. Okay, I'll go with without this one. Okay. So 1, 2, 4, 6. We have to find out the correct statement. Okay. So 1, 2, 4 and 6. ठीक है, so that means option B should be right answer for this particular one. ठीक है, एक बार देख लेते हैं, otherwise I am because this is confusing. And if interest rate are expected to rise in future, people prefer to hold more bonds. So if interest rate are expected to rise in future, so what we will generally do, will go for the interest sensitive जहाँ पे हमें ज़्यादा return मिलेगा instead of that fixed rate, because in case of bonds we have fixed rate. But first we'll check this one. Yes, B is the right answer. Yes, so statement 5 was incorrect. If interest rate are expected to rise, people prefer to hold more money. So instead of holding bonds to avoid capital losses. Okay? So what we will try to do in that particular one, we will try to hold more money. Okay? Rather than this. Okay? Statement third was incorrect. The transaction motive apply to both individual and businesses. Okay? Businesses need cash for wages or raw materials or the other investment purposes and all. Okay? Then the seventh statement is incorrect again. When interest rate are at their lowest, speculative demand at highest one. Okay? So it's highest as people expect interest rate to rise and bonds prices to fall in the future also. So this is the theory. अब इसको थोड़ा सा डिटेल में आपका जाते हैं. Very important discussion, guys. ठीक है. So general theory. The general theory, or which is given by Keynes theory, to distinguish between the three motives for holding cash. One is transaction motive, another one is precautionary motive, and third one is आपका speculative motives. So transaction motive, the transaction motive is related to demand for money or the desire for cash or current transaction of individual and corporate rates. Individual keep cash to bridge the gap between their income and their expenses. This is known as the income motive. A business must also keep cash on hands to satisfy immediate demands or their liquidity requirements. As payment for raw material, transportation, and wages, this is known as business motive. The income motive and business motive, which generally comes under your transaction motive. And transaction motive is like some say as an individual, we have to do some sort of daily expenses and all. तो like small shoppings and all, वो भी जो आपके रोजमर्रा की चीजें होती है. ठीक है. So for that particular purpose, we hold money. ठीक है. So first आपका. The second one is like, let's say if you have 100 rupees, let's say you kept 3 rupees as for the transaction motive. That is the very first one. Second one is precautionary motive for any kind of contingency. We do plan the contingency things and all. So the urge to hold cash balances for unforeseen contingencies is referred to as a precautionary purpose for holding money. Individuals save money to cover unexpected expenses such as illness, accident, and unemployment. Similarly, businesses also do for any kind of downturn in their businesses or any kind of even if they do have some sort of unexpected or some new opportunities in the market, so they can land that particular in that area. Okay? Speculative motive is something आपका this is speculation is somewhere it is equal to gambling. ठीक है. तो जैसे हम लोग आपका we invest in IPOs or if we have some sort of ideas कि हाँ आने वाले समय में this prices will go up and all, so we purchase those particular securities and all. So speculative motive refer to the desire to keep one's resource liquid in order to profit on future changes in interest rate or bond prices. Bond prices and interest rate are inversely related to each others. If bond prices are predicted to climb, interest rate are expected to decline. investor will buy bond to sell, bond to sell. Investor will buy bond to sell when the prices rise. If bond prices are predicted to decline, implying that interest rate will rise, individual would sell bonds to prevent losses. According to Keynes, the higher the rate of interest, lower the speculation demand for money, and lower the interest rate, higher the speculation demand for the money itself. Okay? So I hope now it is 100% clear to all of you, right? So ये जो आपके question था, that was the entire and even the entire theory, which is generally known as general theory of Keynes, that we generally try to make an understanding about this one. ठीक है? तो थोड़ा सा आप इसको revise कीजिएगा. Believe me guys, if you practice 2-3 times, you will be able to recall these particular things. And that demand and supply theory और जो previous unit number 14 is very important. ठीक है? तो अगर आपने वो समझ लिया बहुत अच्छे से, तो यहाँ पे आप चीजों को थोड़ा सा इजीली आपका समझ पाएंगे. ठीक है? चलो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन गाइस. What caused money demand curve to shift upward to a new position, and in money demand shift upwards, so an increase in the level of nominal income? Yes, 100% true. Okay. So what can be the reason for this one? An increase in the level of nominal income. Okay. So अगर nominal income means आपका without inflation adjusted income, and we do have more opportunities in that particular scenario, right? Causing the entire money demand curve to shift the upwards. Okay. When the level of nominal income increase, people demand more money, and that reason that demand curve move upward. Okay. Next one guys, which of the following statement about money market equilibrium are correct? ठीक है, so it is something linked with that first summary itself. ठीक है, so वहीं से आप इस क्वेश्चन को भी सॉल्व कर पाएंगे. The equilibrium rate of interest is determined where the demand for money equal to supply for money. 100% true. ठीक है, so option 1 is correct. ठीक है, second one is if the interest rate is higher than equilibrium rates, people will sell bonds, causing bond prices to rise. If interest rate higher than okay, uh, if interest rate is lower than equilibrium, there is excess demand for money, leading to people to sell bonds. This seems right. This is wrong actually. It is like if we have to, the interest rate is higher than the equilibrium rate, people will sell. People will buy bonds, causing the bond prices will rise. It should be buy, not sell. Statement third is correct. So statement third is right in this situation. The money supply is fixed by a monetary authority and does not change in respect of bond buying or selling by the individuals. So the money supply, okay, just a minute. The money supply is fixed by monetary policies. ठीक है, तो हमारे यहाँ पे RBI used to do this one. ठीक है, and money change, हाँ बिल्कुल सही आपका ये भी. ठीक है, so if this is correct, do we have any option? ठीक है, this is wrong. ठीक है, why this is wrong? If the interest rate is higher than the equilibrium, ठीक है, this is our आपका equilibrium points, and if interest rate is above this one, ठीक है, so the point is people will sell bonds, causing bond prices to rise. ठीक है, so people will buy should be right answer. ठीक है, so this is wrong, so that means 1, 3, 4. ठीक है, option C should be right answer for this one. Yes, हाँ. So because higher interest rate, people buy bonds, ठीक है, not sell, which arise bond prices and which rises bond prices and lower interest rate in the market itself. ठीक है, so ये थोड़ा सा like see that if you comfortable that with that initial chart how we build the equilibrium, and this type of problems we also solve with the our demand and supply things. So please एक बार इनको ना थोड़ा सा at least PDF wise you have to revise these two. ठीक है, तो what action by central bank lead to an increase in the money supply in the economy? So this is a very simple one. Okay, so what RBI used to do if they have to increase the money supply in the market? So they can use LAF. Okay. basically they can reduce the repo rate, they can use open market operation, they can use MSS tool, they can use reduce CRR, SLR. So there are so many measures. So selling government securities in open market, if RBI will sell government securities, that means they are collecting money from the market. This will decrease the money supply. So this will not the option. Buying securities from open market, definitely this will be. So we are no, sorry, this is also wrong. Buying securities from open market, if you are doing so, again that will decrease the money supply in the market. So this is not the right one. Sorry. And the next one, increasing tax rate on saving. This will also decline. Restricting credit availability to bank. This is no. We selling government securities, buying securities from the so option B only will be right answer. Sorry, guys. So buying securities from the open market or selling government securities in the open market. So this is a case आपका, sorry, option B only is the right answer. Buying securities from open market is means, let's say earlier, let's say in 2010, RBI issued 10,000 crore rupees bonds in the market. In 2025, what RBI is doing, they are generally buying back those particular bonds. That means they'll make payments to the investors, those who invested in 2010. So there will be more money supply in the market. So that's why option B will be right answer for this one. All right, 100% true. Yes. So when the central bank buys securities from open market, it inject money into economy, increasing overall money supply. As I gave you an example. So RBI bought sell those particular securities long back. Now they are buying back, means now investor they'll get their money with interest, principal plus interest. So it will create more money supply in the market itself. Very nice question. Which of the following about shift in money demand liquidity preference curve are correct? So money demand means liquidity preference curve are true. So an increase in nominal income, the money demand curve upward. An increase in income shift, the money demand curve will be upward. True. Expectation of higher future interest rate lead to an upward shift in the money demand stream. So expectation in the higher. This is also true. When the liquidity preference curve shift upward, the quantity of money held increase. This is not. And a rise in speculative demand for money lead to an increase in equilibrium. A rise in speculative demands for money lead to an increase in the equilibrium interest rate. So this will be the action आपका, ठीक है. So 1 2 3 1 2 3 है, sorry 1 2 4 1 2 4 means option C should be right answer for this particular one. Okay, option C should be right answer. Let's check this particular one. Yes. So 1 2 4 these are correct one. Statement third is incorrect. Reason being, when the liquidity preference curve shift upward, the quantity of money held remain the same, and only the interest rate rise to maintain the equilibrium also. So please go through this one again. So this is definitely going to help you out. All right. So because after this we are going to, I guess after this only, na? Yes. So this new topic we'll be discussing this particular one in detail. Team. So ISLM model, very important one. Team. So most of the time you'll see question based on this one also. And apart from that interest theory, like maximum time we'll see question based on the interest theory. But sometime I have seen experience, like I have experienced questions based on this particular one also. ठीक है, बहुत बार आपका यहाँ से उन्होंने आपके क्वेश्चंस इसके अराउंड फ्रेम किए हैं. ठीक है. So ISLM model. So with this particular question we will try to build our understanding. Okay. So first we'll discuss this one. Okay. IS curve represent the equilibrium in goods market, 100% true. Okay, where investment equal to saving at various income level. Okay. So statement 1 is correct. Why these are correct? If you haven't gone through this one, so with the part of explanation only, you will be able to make your understanding. Okay. The LM curve is derived. So IS curve is something related to your goods market, where investment equal savings at various income level. LM curve derive from the money market equilibrium, where liquidity preference equal to money supply. 100% true. If the investment demand is highly sensitive to interest rate changes, the IS curve will be steeper. No, the IS curve. No, this is wrong, team. The rightward shift of LM curve can result from an increase. The rightward shift of LM curve can result from an increase in money supply or an increase in liquidity preference for the given income level. 100% true, team. Then the if the IS curve is vertical, monetary policy has no effect on output. While if LM curve is vertical, fiscal policy has no effect on outcome. 100% true again. And the intersection of IS and LM curve determine equilibrium, real output, and the natural rate of unemployment. No, this is not linked with this one. Supply money. ठीक है? So this is wrong. ठीक है? तो आपका 1 2 4 5 1 2 no 1 2 1 2 4 6 no 1 2 4 अच्छा okay हाँ option D should be right answer for this particular one. ठीक है? Yes. So statement third was wrong. ठीक है? If investment demand is highly sensitive to interest rate, the IS curve will be flatter, not steeper. ठीक है? The another one is आपका statement 6 was incorrect. If ISLM model determine equilibrium income and interest rate, but does not exactly determine the natural rate of unemployment and all. Based on this, you can use this particular one as a tool, and how you can build a link with that particular one later. But it is not direct. This curve or this intersection is not telling you about the exact unemployment or employment level in the economy itself. Okay? So IS LM model is a macroeconomics model that analyzes the short-run equilibrium in both the goods market and the money market. So IS is related to goods market and LM is related to money market. Showing how interest rate and output GDP interact. ISLM model, also known as Hicks and Hinson model, is a simplified framework which understand how monetary and fiscal policies affect a closed economy's output and interest rate in the short term, assuming prices are at fixed rate. Okay? So policy uses is आपका the ISLM help policymaker to understand how change in monetary policy, change in money supply, and a fiscal policy can affect the output and the interest rate. Basically, it is helping government while, especially in case of closed economies, if they made any change, like what should be the next course of action to manage money supply and interest rate in the economy itself, right? So IS curve, if you talk about the IS curve, IS curve represent the combination of interest rate and output level, where the goods market, investment savings, is in equilibrium, meaning the aggregate demand equal to aggregate supply. LM curve आपका the money curve represent the combination of interest rate and output level, where the money market liquidity preference or money supply is equilibrium, meaning the demand for money equal to demand for supply. And basically what RBI want to try, or our government want to manage to their different activities through this one to achieve this equilibrium points. Okay? So it can be different labels. So how to manage or how to balance your monetary and fiscal policy. ठीक है? So थोड़ा सा इनको रिवाइज करेंगे सभी लोग. देखो जितना आप इन पे, like I have added module wise mock also. ठीक है? तो module wise mock में ना you will get two set. One set is आपका मॉड्यूल यूनिट वाइज मॉक. ठीक है? ईच एंड विद द सीक्वेंस इटसेल्फ, राइट? फर्स्ट यूनिट, सेकंड, थर्ड, फोर्थ, फिफ्थ, एंड देन द एंटायर मॉड्यूल. ठीक है? देन आपका अनदर मॉड्यूल. The one set is आपका kind of mixed questions. ठीक है? So if you practice those particular one, these are definitely going to help you out, and you'll have a better learning with the one. ठीक है? So what you can do during your office timing and all, so you can practice. Let's say you do have that option कि you can attempt those particular mock tests n number of time, ठीक है. तो जितना ज्यादा आप प्रैक्टिस करेंगे उतना ज्यादा आपको ये हेल्प करेंगे, ठीक है दोस्तों. चलो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन आपका. Which of the following statement about the IES-LM model are correct? A rightward shift in IES curve indicate an increase in the aggregate demand due to fiscal expansion. Um, a rightward shift in what we have to find out, correct statement. So a rightward shift in the IS curve indicate an increase. This is 100% aggregate demand due to fiscal expansion. It is expansion and it is aggregate demand. A leftward shift in the LM curve occurs when the central bank increase the money supply. Leftward is if it is leftward, it should be decrease आपका, not increase. So this make this statement wrong. Contextually monetary policy. Contextually monetary policy means RBI decreasing the money supply in the market. So we have expansionary or contextually. So expansionary, they increasing the money supply. It can be related to fiscal as well as monetary. In case of contextually, where RBI decreasing the money supply in the market. So contextually monetary policy rise interest rate and lower national income. Obviously, this is 100% true. If there will be less money supply, so that the interest rate will go up. So and the overall outcome will become less in the market. Be reason being आपका कि people will not have much money to invest or to produce more goods and all, and even the spending or the consumption will be at lower side. So this is again 100% true, and this is wrong. So 1 and 2, 1 and 3, option B should be right answer for this one. So statement 2 is incorrect. A leftward shift in LM curve occurs when central bank reduce, not increase the money supply. So this is the right one, right? Next one. Okay, this is it. Okay. So this is our basic summary. So interest is one of the 4 type of income that other being rent, wage and profit. Okay? So this is something linked with your national income. Okay? So when we'll come to the accounts of a national income. Okay? So if you calculate the income factors or sources of income. Okay? So we have like the income part is basically we have land, labor, capital and entrepreneurship. Okay? So from land we generally get rent. Okay? Labor who generally get wages, and entrepreneurs they generally get profit, and your investment they attract the investment interest आपका. ठीक है. So this is one of the 4 type of income. ठीक है. These 3 elements can be distinguished in interest. One is payment for a risk involved in making the loan, payment for a trouble involved, and pure interest. Okay? So one question we practice based on this particular one. I guess the very first question was related to this. Supply and demand analysis explain the rate of interest. A price determined by demand for money and the supply of loans. Equilibriums, which we generally we can say. According to Keynes, the interest is determined by liquidity preference or demand for money to hold and supply of money. The theory known as liquidity preference theory. Interest is reward for parting with liquidity for specified period. In asset economy, the demand for money by the people depend on how they decide to balance their portfolios between money and bonds. The position of money demand curve depend on 2 factors. One is level of nominal income and the expectation about the changes in bond prices in the future. Okay? Keynes asserted that it is not a rate of interest which equalize savings and investment, but this is equality. It brought about through changes in level of income as well. Hicks and Hazen have brought about the synthesis between classical and Keynes theories of interest, and have thereby succeed propounding and educate and determine theory of interest through the intersection of what are generally called IS and LM curve. So आपका how monetary policies and fiscal policy they are using these particular one to decide or to take decide the level of money supply in the economy. IS curve tell about what will be the various rate of interest at different level of income given the investment demand curve and a family of saving curve and different level of income. IS curve and LM curve relate the two variables, income and the rate of interest. Intersection point of these two curve is equilibrium, which is rate of interest. Okay? So this is it. So this is all about your unit number 15. आपका theories on of interest. Okay. Very important one. Again, 1 marks downside, 1 marks you can expect based on this. So thoda sa like I try to cover each and every subtopic of your book also. Okay. So थोड़ा सा अगर आप इसको प्रैक्टिस करेंगे और go through these two topic back to back, ठीक है, 14 and 15, ठीक है. So supply and demand and your आपका theories of interest, ठीक है. तो अगर आप इनको साथ में पढ़ेंगे ना, so you will be able to link the previous things, how law of demand work, law of supply work, and the equilibrium, we form the equilibrium, ठीक है. And this आपका interest in saving का जो relation है, ठीक है. So I hope you get this particular thing clearly. Now I'll see you in the next session. So till that time, bye bye, take care, and I hope you guys are watching the morning sessions for your PPB we started this week onwards. Okay. So these are the live sessions. So all right, so this is it. Bye bye, take care all. Have a nice day and all the very best. Thank you.